Close to 2 years, skyrocketing interest rates have been scorching mortgage holders. The move is designed to slay the inflation dragon, but despite the rising cost of everything, spending in the economy is still too high to kill the beast.
Australians are feeling cost of living pressures worse than ever.
Only it might not be our spending driving up inflation, but the government's.
As part of Victoria's Big Build.
Improving mobility and tackling congestion are key to the livability and economic growth of Sydney.
Investing record amounts in infrastructure to help keep Brisbane moving.
$150 billion worth of government infrastructure spending is now under review after being called out as the latest culprit to fuel inflation.
Indeed. So, look, certainly, the roads that it's building, obviously you can imagine it employs a lot of labour, so it adds a lot to the economy, a lot of material. And so if they can slow that down, then maybe they can help slow down the economy.
I do think we're going to need to make some difficult decisions about the infrastructure pipeline, which factors in those $33 billion of blowouts from projects announced by our predecessors, and which factors in our inflation challenge.
But the states, who are collectively working through more than $100 billion of road and rail projects, along with the construction industry, are calling BS.
We've got a housing crisis, so we can't stop building houses. We've also got 500,000 to 600,000 people coming into the country every year, so you can't really look at cutting back on schools, hospitals and transport.
The vast majority of the 400 plus projects that have been subjected to this delayed review by the federal government haven't even begun yet. So we're in no way actually contributing to the inflationary issues that Australians are facing right now.
So is slowing down our nationwide big build really the best way to finally tame inflation if it means thousands of Aussies losing their jobs?
Let's go to Economist Nicki Hutley. Nicki, for the last couple of years we've been told that we're the problem, that our spending is driving inflation, but now we're hearing government spending's the problem. So what's going on here?
Well, it's a little bit of both, so to be fair to the government, but what they have realised is that a lot of election promises, and from the states as well as the federal government, saying we're going to put roads here and rail there and snowy hydro too, and they've suddenly gone, you know what, we don't actually have enough workers and we don't have enough materials, and that's adding to inflation, so we better do our part as well.
Right. Being fair to the government, not really in the spirit of the segment, actually, Nicki. So if you could just play along, that would be great. Is there something about construction specifically that makes it inflationary?
Yeah, because you've got to remember that about 10%, maybe more, of Australia's economy relies on the construction sector. If you have too much pressure in that sector, you see wages go up too fast, that adds to the economy as a whole, flows through into materials prices, and it's probably one of the most inflationary sectors that we have.
Nicki, when people use phrases like slowing the economy and talk about the importance of that, doesn't that just mean people losing their jobs? And isn't that also bad? Isn't that almost a bigger problem?
Yeah, this is why people hate economists, because for everything that's good, we've got to come up with a negative as well. There's always trade-offs, unfortunately. And this is the hardest thing facing the Reserve Bank, is in order to slow inflation or bring inflation down, they've got to slow the economy. And of course, that means that people will lose their jobs.
Nicki, let's have a look at the impact tomorrow if they go up again, the bank on people with mortgages. The Daily Telegraph today had a stat saying maybe 2 million homeowners might be sent into the red if rates go up again tomorrow. Is that your fear as well?
Yeah, I think we're looking at a really big jump from somewhere around 15% of people who are sort of on the breadline to possibly as much as 40% of people really struggling to make ends meet if they continue to go up. And don't forget, the previous rate rises haven't flowed through to all homeowners. So those on fixed rates, there's still about 1 in 2 of those haven't got the big hit yet. So there's still a lot more pain to come. This is going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. It's not fun.
That's a colossal jump. If that's true, if that's the way it actually plays out, that's extraordinary, like as a marginal result of this particular rate rise. And I know last time we spoke to you, you were about 50-50 on whether or not it would happen. Are you still in that position? Has the probability changed?
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty much foregone conclusion that they will go. What they said about the last inflation number was if it changed materially, and despite the fact that the Treasurer said it wasn't material, pretty well every economist thinks that it was, and I'm pretty sure the Reserve Bank does too. So they've really indicated that they will go if they're going to walk the talk tomorrow. And it's, yes, 25 basis points doesn't sound like much of an interest rate rise, but it's the cumulative effect. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back, unfortunately.
Nicki, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
I hope there's better news to come in the months ahead.
So the bank paused 4 times. And we talked earlier in the year, remember we talked about that it was going to get to a point where people are going to fall off the cliff because they'd had rates locked in and then those locked-in rates expire. If what Nicki says there of 40%, and you questioned her on that, that's
I didn't question it.
That's horrendous.
That's extraordinary.
I mean, how people... I think this could be the one that really hurts people. And economists are saying they might go again in December. So there might be 0.5 between now and the end of the year, staring at a pretty grim Christmas for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.